What's up, YouTube? Today we're gonna take a peek at this guy who traveled to North
On the 15th of November.
Hush, Sonny. We're gonna be looking at Sonny V2's video on the North Sentinelese. If you don't know who the North Sentinelese are, they are a tribe in the middle of the Indian Ocean, and they haven't been touched by man, and they're known to be extremely hostile, and everyone knows this. It's a very common knowledge thing. So let's get right into the reaction. By the way, I highly recommend you go check out Sonny's video. It's really great, and I'm going to be, pausing and giving commentary. And if you don't want to see that, why are you here?
For 2018, John Allen Chau took a boat to North Sentinel Island expecting a peaceful welcome.
Quick side note, when we say expecting a peaceful welcome, he had journal entries where he was like, I was disappointed that they didn't welcome me. What did you expect? It's your first time.
Never made it back home. Although before we talk about who he was, what he was doing, and how he came to meet his fate, let's first talk about the island itself.
He has to be, slightly mentally ill.
Located in the Bay of Bengal between India and Thailand, North Sentinel Island measures 6 kilometers wide, 8 kilometers long, and is home to one of the last uncontacted tribes on all of planet Earth. The tribe is known to outsiders as the Sentinelese, who have an estimated population of between 15 and 500 people. However, there's a reason why
500. There's got to be some inbreeding in there, right? No, that's all.
Taking an accurate measurement is almost impossible. They're unbelievably hostile to anybody who tries to visit the island. The first example of this came in 1860.
You have to put an emphasis on that. The fact that they are very unbelievably hostile. They've always been known, they will kill you on the spot, and they are stronger, have exceptional weapons, and they're very talented with those exceptional weapons, so they'll kill you.
1967, when an Indian merchant ship wrecked on the island's reef, and while the 106 passengers might have thought that they'd stumbled upon paradise, this couldn't have been further from the truth. Without warning, the ship's crew were attacked by the tribe's bow and arrows, and were only able to survive by returning fire with sticks and stones found on
That's incredible editing by Sonny. I think that's hilarious. The little rocks spinning.
The beach. They were rescued by a British steamboat 1 week later, yet the captain of the shipwreck went on to describe the Sentinelese by writing, "The savages were perfectly naked with short hair and red painted noses, and were opening their mouth and making sounds like pa on oh. Their arrows appeared to be tipped with iron." The intriguing nature of the tribe led a party of armed British officials to return 13 years later in 1880, at which point they'd find, quote, a network of pathways and several small villages that look to have been freshly abandoned.
When you're on an island like North Sentinel, what makes you abandon a village? If you think about America or England or just pretty much any other country, there's plenty of reasons to leave a place. We all traveled west in the 1800s to go get gold and stuff, or there was the whole western railroad, and people wanted gold, better opportunities, and I feel like that's a reason. But when you're in North Sentinel, when you're on this small island, the island's not very big. If you go to Google Earth, the island is really small, and it's just off the the Andaman Island, or the Andes Islands, I think. It's small. So what is the reason to move?
Eventually find 4 Sentinelese children, as well as an elderly couple, who were kidnapped by the party and taken back to the nearby city of Port Blair. However, their state...
That's cruel. That's so cruel to take people out of that environment, because once you're taken out of an environment like that, you have no antibodies to common sicknesses. You have... that's about it.
Didn't last very long, as all 6 Sentinelese sickened rapidly and the old man and his wife died. So the 4 children were sent back to their home with quantities of presents. 16 years after...
Yay, we killed your grandparents, but here's some presents. And also, when you live in a society like that, you won't be accepted back in.
After this, a Hindu convict escaped on a makeshift raft from the adjacent Great Andaman Island, only to wash up 50 kilometers west in the worst place imaginable.
You think you're the luckiest person in the world? You escape prison, you made it out, and then you end up at North Sentinel. Oh, that's unfortunate. You gotta feel for the guy.
A search party found his body lying on the beach pierced with iron arrows, with his death sending a clear enough message for nobody to return to the island for almost 80 years.
Yeah.
However, in
that's
1974,
Nothing
a film
bad
crew shooting a
happened in those 80
documentary called
years.
Man in Search of Man landed on the island to leave gifts.
We came
Man in
at
Search
last
of Man.
to what is known
Does that still exist? Give it a second. Man in Search of Man. Huh, I guess it's only about North Sentinel. Do they have footage? Am I allowed to use this? I might get copyrighted for this, but go watch this. Chatting with Cannibals, National Geographic. I don't think I'll get copyrighted for this, will I? I have no subscribers. I don't care if I get copyrighted. Let's go see what footage they get. Whoa! Is that North Sentinel? Yo, he be snacking over there. That's inappropriate.
As our expedition approached the curiously called Interview Island, we wondered whether we would be able even to have a glimpse of the inhabitants called Jarwas.
Oh, cool. Wait. So I guess there's a lot of islands like North Sentinel. Anyway, back to Sunny.
Known as the North Sentinel Island. Although some expeditions had landed here, the Sentinelese had never been wounded by one of the many arrows,
This is the only clip.
each 2.5 meters long.
Holy, look
He
at
will
that.
carry this scar till his death.
If on
That's an
Google Maps
arrow.
you zoom into the coastline on the island's northwest corner, you'll find a different boat which now acts as a permanent reminder of
If
North
you're wondering, yes, because I was wondering the same thing. Yep, that does exist. That is the boat, which I think is awesome. Can I drag the little dude? Can I drag a little bro? No, you can't. And I'm not surprised. 3D. Yeah, no. See, like you can't get any footage of North Sentinel because you can't access the island. I'm curious. So yes, the boat does exist, which I think is just crazy.
Sentinel's hostility and unrecoverability. The ship going by the name of the MV Primrose had been transporting farm unrecoverability.
That does not look like
the ship
same
going by
ship.
the name
That does not look like the same ship. Unless, see how rounded that front is and rounded the back is? Those are really pointed.
of the
I don't think
MV
that's
Primrose
the
had been
same
transporting farming
ship. Let's do another Google. MB Primrose. Oh, well, it might be because it's common. Why is there a shipwreck on North Sentinel? MV Primrose. Huh, I guess it is.
supplies
It
to
does
Australia
exist.
before it wrecked on the unfortunate location in 1981. The ship's passengers were incredibly lucky because at the time, this entire area was underwater, keeping them at a safe distance while they
That's
organized their
lucky as
rescue.
hell.
In the meantime, the Sentinelese observed the ship from their beach, with the crew members describing the tribe as well-built, frizzy-haired, and black. They were naked except for narrow belts that circled their waists, and they were holding spears, bows, and arrows, which they had begun waving in a manner that seemed not altogether friendly.
Not altogether-
However, while almost
yes.
every example
Not altogether friendly here. And see, I feel like after so many sources say, don't go, don't go, don't go. Hey, maybe don't go, because they don't seem all that friendly. Why go? Like,
so far displays the Sentinelese as an untouchable group
Frustrating.
of brutes. It would be exactly 10 years later when a single anthropologist did the impossible. He made peaceful contact for the very
Look at that, man.
first time.
Absolute
T and
legend.
Pandit had been dropping gifts and coconuts to the island every 1 or 2 months since 1967, although for the first 24 years of doing so, the Sentinelese maintained their hostility.
See,
but all of this
that's another thing. With a tribe like this, or like with anything, like if you like look at like even like an animal. Now I'm not saying these people are animals. Obviously they're people, but when you don't have contact with someone for so long, these, like, us humans are animals to them, and it's hard to trust. But, you know, after a while, especially after 24 years, you know, like, they're like, okay, we can trust these people now. And it's every 1 to 2 months they're you know, they're dropping us off, you know, gifts and stuff. So that's what, 12 times 24. I'm not doing all that math, but that's around 200 visits. So, you know, I feel like that's enough to be trusting. Not like your first visit, they're going to trust you.
Changed on the 4th of January 1991, when the tribe finally concluded that he was only there to help. Pandit described this day in a 2000 interview with the American Scholar, which stated a great many of the Sentinelese started running down the beach and splashing through the surf toward the dinghy. The director leapt from the boat into chest-high water. One of the young Sentinelese men recalled in fright and handed coconuts to the tribesmen as they crowded around him. A few weeks later, he returned to North Sentinel with another expedition. This time, several Sentinelese men went so far as to climb into the dinghy and grab entire sacks of coconuts. Pandit was alone in the water with a group of Sentinelese. One of the young tribesmen looked at him, scowled, pulled out an iron-bladed knife, and made a gesture, Pandit says, like he was going to cut out my heart. Maybe he thought I was planning to stay on the island.
See, even after all of this trust, they still are not altogether friendly. They'll trust you, they'll accept your gift. Police, right? One of them also spotted a policeman's rifle hidden in the corner of the boat and reached out of curiosity to touch it. Interesting. But yeah, see, even after the trust is gained, they're still very hostile.
But the dinghy quickly returned to pick Pandit up. He would return to North Sentinel several more times before retiring from the Anthropological Survey in 1992. The interaction showed that peaceful contact with the tribe was possible, although only after a significant period of trust building, and even after T and Pandit's unique interaction, the Sentinelese retained their hostility toward any unfamiliar outsider. For example, after the 2004 Indian Ocean earthquake caused the worst tsunami in recorded human history right next to North Sentinel Island, a helicopter was sent out to see if the tribe had survived from such a catastrophic event. Well,
I do like that sentiment, though. I like how humanity as a whole has understood, you know, we need to preserve this. Because this is something that is, you know, it's something that is rare and cool and, you know, different. It's like a museum almost. Like, we want to preserve this natural living of these people. We don't want to disrupt their ways, and I like how, you know, we care about them. We want to check up on them and see how they are.
Not only were the Sentinelese somehow doing just fine, but their response to the help offered by the Indian government was to throw spears, arrows, and rocks toward the helicopter. 2 years later, in 2006, two men aged 48 and 52 were fishing for mud crabs near the island. However, the pair got so drunk that while sleeping, the anchor of the boat, which was a rock tied to a rope, fell apart and drifted the men toward North Sentinel. Bro. The following morning, fellow fishermen said they tried to shout at the men and warn them that they were in danger. However, they did not respond. They were probably drunk, and the boat drifted into the shallows where they were attacked and killed. A government helicopter was sent to recover the bodies. However, given the tribe's hostility, all they were able to get was this photo, after which a 5.6 kilometer exclusion zone was enforced by the Indian government, making it illegal for anybody.
This is smart, but I feel like this shouldn't need to be a law. This should be the ring of common knowledge, because it's why would you even want to go this close to something so dangerous anyway?
To visit the island.
That's just my take.
This, in combination with every other example so far, paints a very simple picture. Do not visit North Sentinel Island under any circumstances. However, unfortunately, John Allen Chau never got the message.
I mean, clearly. I also, by the way, love this art style of Sunny's thumbnails. Like, let's see if there's any of my recommended. Yeah, see, look, he has this art style on all of his videos.
Born on the 18th of December 1991 in the state of Alabama, John grew up in what seemed to be a standard Christian household with two parents and two.
Before we go further, I would like to clarify. I'm not making a statement on any religion, whatever you believe in. Totally cool with me.
siblings. As he got older, John began to get into various outdoor activities such as camping, hiking, and
Whoa, that's a
kayaking, which when combined with his
beautiful place. Look
religious
at this. Look at the water. Look at where he's at. That's awesome.
background inspired him to become an adventure blogger and Christian missionary. On his Instagram, John displayed his trips to countless different countries,
Whoa,
including Mexico,
those
South
are
Africa,
beautiful.
and Canada,
Look at
each of
that.
which being documented on his Rugged Trail website. However, there was one location that
His Rugged Trail website, is it still up?
each
see
of
if we
which
can
being
see.
documented
Let's just Google it. What's his name? John Allen Chau. John Allen Chau website. There's his Instagram. Yeah, no, I'm not seeing his website. I guess it was taken
documented
down
on his
or I'm
Rugged
just
Trail
not looking in
website.
the right
However,
place.
there was one location that John had his sights set on, which would make all the others seem insignificant: North Sentinel. He'd grown obsessed with the idea of visiting the island during his previous trip to the Andamans in 2016, and judging from the quotes he posted to his Facebook, John seemed to have been inspired by another missionary named Jim Elliot, who was killed in the 50s whilst preaching to a native tribe in Ecuador.
He was inspired. If that's your inspiration and he died, maybe we should learn from our idol's mistakes, right? And not die.
Although, according to the head of the
Just
mission
an
he was
idea.
working for, John was significantly more prepared. All Chau's decisions, including his studies of sports science and training and working as a wilderness emergency medical technician, and classes he took in
None of these will help you if you get shot. I'm just saying, by a spear arrow. None of these will help you. This will help you, actually. Wilderness emergency medical technician that'll help you.
linguistics and cultural anthropology were in preparation to share Jesus with the North Sentinelese. He was very well prepared for this moment. On the 21st of October 2018,
I
John
checked, his Instagram is still up. You can go look. That's it.
posted this image to social media, showing that he was back in the nearby city of Port Blair, where unbeknownst to his family, he was planning his trip to what he called Satan's last stronghold,
Satan's
aka North.
last stronghold. Look at that. See, I feel like with a tribe like the North Sentinelese, I feel like they're already connected with nature and their god. Satan's last stronghold. First off, let's do some Googling here. How many what do you even call that? Tribes are there untouched by humans? How many are there? More than 100. 100 uncontacted tribes. So this is not Satan's last stronghold, but
North Sentinel Island. On the 15th of November 2018,
anyway, as to finish the thought, I feel like they're already connected with their gods. And with a language barrier, it's gonna be hard to get across something as complex as Christianity or just religion in general to these people, because they're smart. Don't get me wrong, they're very, very smart. But with that language barrier, that's like someone trying to explain geometry to you while speaking a different language. It's just a complex topic that you can't really be put into simple terms that someone could understand through a language gap. But that's just my opinion.
only 25 days after landing back in the Andamans, John began a journal to document his trip to North Sentinel, with his first entry stating that a group of fishermen had agreed to take him to the island illegally. I met last night with the fishermen who were all
If you have to be taken somewhere illegally, chances are you don't really want to go to that place.
believers and agreed to drop me off. Jonathan won't be
I
accompanying
met with the fishers who are all believers. I think they just said that because I think our boy John Allen said he would pay them.
me as they will be
who
at sea
knows?
doing their regular fishing maneuvers to avoid raising suspicion, and there is a high chance that they get checked by the Indian Coast Guard. The meeting went well. I trust them, though I'm the only English speaker, so there's quite a language gap, and I'm relying on the Holy Spirit to direct us. The drop zone was pointed out on the map as being a cove on the southwest of the island, and I depart in 3 or so hours.
Cove on the southwest of the island, I think I found. Is that a skull? Doesn't that look like a doodle skull? Sorry. Anyway, so if you go to the Did I flip myself around? Where are we? I did. How do you do that? How did I do that? Anyway, well, we just have to reverse it. On the southwest of the island, I think he was at this cove right here. Which I think is spooky. That this is where he wrote. Look at that quality. This is where he wrote all of his letters from, which I think is a little spooky.
God, I thank you for choosing me before I was even formed in my mother's womb to be your messenger for your great news to the people of North Sentinel.
Once again, I feel like this is a very common sign of a mental illness. Yes, religion is a real thing, and, you can believe in whatever you want, but if you believe that you need to reach out to a dangerous tribe and that was your fate, I mean, there's not... I feel like that's a sign of mental illness.
Sentinel Island. John then explained his plan for first contact by stating, the plan is to link up with the crew tonight and depart tonight, arriving at the shore around 4 a.m. From there, we make progressive contact with fish as gifts over the next few days and then send me off. We might even send a kayak laden with gifts towards shore.
Because the gifts go so well.
The following day, John explained that his trip to the island went as planned by writing, at 4:30 we entered the cove on the western shore, which was followed by his first attempt at contact approximately 4 hours later. Around 8:30 I got 2 large fish, around 15 pounds it felt like. I put them on top of the kayak and began rowing. 2 armed Sentinelese came rushing out yelling at me. They had 2 arrows each unstrung until they got closer. I hollered, my name is John, I love you and Jesus loves you. Jesus Christ gave me the authority to come to you. I regret
I feel like, what did he expect to happen after he yelled this? Oh, like the Sentinelese to go, oh, well, in that case, come on in. No, I mean, it's not how tribes like these work.
Began to panic slightly as I saw them string arrows in their bows. I picked up the half tuna and threw it toward them. They kept coming. I backpaddled facing them, and then when they got the fish, I turned and paddled like I never have in my life back to the boat. I felt some fear, but mainly was disappointed they didn't accept me right away. I can now
This man, did he do no research? Like, literally one Google search. How dangerous are the North Sentinelese. North Sentinel. How dangerous is North? One of the most dangerous places in the world. Anyone who visits a high chance of dying. When Jesuits or other religious entities tried to connect with the settlers. One Google search, dude. That's all you needed. It's just...
say I've been nearly shot by the Sentinelese, and I've walked on and cached gear on their island. Now...
Although, that's pretty fire. That's a pretty fire statement. It would be great if you could tell people, but
I'm
no, you have
resting
to
on
go
the
back
boat
and
and we'll try again later. John escaped his...
Also, no disrespect to John's family. Obviously, it's a horrible, awful thing that happened, but, I mean, he had it coming.
First encounter unharmed. However, as mentioned in the
Lucky
previous entry,
man.
he planned on returning for a second encounter, which miraculously he'd survive once again. I waited my kayak toward the hut I'd been chased from on initial contact.
To the
Sure
hut?
enough, as I got there, I heard the whoops and shouts from the hut. I made sure to stay out of arrow range, but unfortunately that meant I was also out of good hearing range. So I got a little closer, and as they, about 6 from what I could see, yelled at me, I tried to parrot their words back to them. They burst out laughing most of the time, so they probably were saying bad words or insulting me. I yelled some phrases and sang them some...
I love that. I think that's hilarious. I laugh because I tried to parrot their words back to them. That's not going to do anything. Maybe it will. But they burst out laughing most of the time because they probably sang bad words. I think that's hilarious. I think that's so funny that they were like, let's just curse this guy out. I think that's funny.
Some worship songs and hymns, and they would often fall silent after this. Here's when this nice meet and greet went south.
This nice meet and greet? I'm sorry. By this nice meet and greet, do you mean they run out, curse you out, you start screaming shit, and they start trying to figure out what you're saying, and they shut up, That's your definition of a nice meet and greet?
And a young woman, both with bows, came behind, and I
Oh.
kept waving my hands to say no bows, but they didn't get the memo, I guess. Then a little kid
No. No bows. Bruh. Brother. Broseph. What did you expect to happen? I don't understand this, man.
with bow and arrow came down the middle, and I figured this was it. So I preached a bit to them starting in Genesis.
Ah, yes. He's ready. He's ready to be preached to. He's got a bow and arrow pointed at me, but this is it. He's ready.
And disembarked my kayak to show them that I too have 2 legs. But the little kid shot me with
I don't think that's what the kid really wants to. I don't think that's what the kid really cares about.
an arrow directly into my Bible, which I was holding in front of my chest.
Ain't that, sorry for pausing so much in this section, but ain't that poetic justice? Shot him directly in the Bible.
I stumbled back and I recall yelling at the kid for shooting me. I had to swim almost a mile.
I also think this is funny. Imagine someone breaks in your house and you shoot them, and you don't kill them. You don't even hurt them. They just get scared and they start yelling at you for shooting you. You're like, you are in my space. You were not invited into my space. I know you think you were invited into my space, but you're not. Like, and then you get mad that he got shot. This man, I feel like his heart is in the right place, but he's very naive, and he didn't understand what was going into, what was waiting for him.
Back to the boat at the mouth of the cove. The plan now is to rest and sleep on the boat. By this point, John already had an unbelievable story for the ages. He had gone to the island, survived his...
Is this the island? Is this North Sentinel? Is that a swastika on his hat? Am I going crazy? Is that... Am I going nuts? Is that a Okay.
First day, returned
I'm
on a
sure
second
it
day,
isn't,
was
by the
shot
way.
by the Sentinelese point blank, but lived to tell the tale after the pages in his Bible decided to spare his life. However, as the journal entries continued, it became obvious that John was happy for his legacy to be the guy who died trying to preach his religion to the tribe. Lord, let your will be done. If you want me to get actually shot or even killed with an arrow, then so be it. I think I could be more useful alive though, but to you, God, I give all the glory of whatever happens. I don't want...
That's 100% a mental illness there. I mean, if you are okay dying to preach religion, and I understand people have serious convictions, but if you are okay dying to preach religion to people you know won't accept it, like, you know they won't understand, I feel like, yeah, I feel like that's just, there's something not right up there. But it's sad what happened to him.
To die. Would it be wiser to leave
Sorry
and
for
let someone
spoiling,
else continue?
but,
No,
yeah,
I don't
it's
think
sad.
so.
It's
I still
really
could
sad.
make it back to the US somehow, as it almost seems like certain death to stay here. Yet there is evidence of change in just 2 encounters in a single day. We'll try.
What changed? 2 encounters in a single day. What changed? What changed when this happened? In those 2 encounters, the first one, they yelled it. The first one, they just ran at you to go get the fish, and you ran away. In the second one, they started cursing at you and shot at you. I feel like that's changed, just not for the better.
Try again tomorrow.
Anyway.
The following day, John wrote his final entry in the journal, beginning with, "Woke up after a fairly restless sleep, heading to Island now. I hope this isn't my last notes, but if it is, to God be the glory," before going on to write a goodbye message to his family, reading, "Brian and Marilyn and Mum and Dad."
It's so sad that he knew he would die. I mean, like,
You guys might think I'm
that's
crazy in
sad.
all of this, but I think it's worth it to declare Jesus to these people.
no, it's not. That's not worth it. Because they've been known to kill these missionaries and these Jesuits. They've been known to kill them. So it's not worth it, because they won't accept it. They'll forget about you in 2 weeks.
Please do not be angry at them or at God if I get killed. Rather, please live your lives in obedience to whatever he calls you to, and I'll see you again when you pass through the veil. Don't retrieve my body. I love you all, and I pray that none of you love anything in this world more than Jesus Christ. Written from the cove on the southwestish, more like west of North Sentinel Island. 16th of November 2018, 6:20 AM. In the days that followed, his family made a post to John's Instagram reading, "We recently learned from an unconfirmed report that John Allen..."
Recently learned from an unconfirmed report that John Allen Chau was killed in India while reaching out to members of the Sentinelese tribe in the Andaman Islands. Words cannot express the sadness we've experienced about this report. He was a beloved son, brother, uncle, best friend to us. He was also a Christian missionary, a wilderness EMT, an international soccer coach, and mountaineer. He loved God, life, and helping those in need, and he had nothing but love for the Sentinelese people. We forgive those reportedly responsible for his death. Potentially hot take here. It was him. He was responsible for it. He knew what he was getting into, and I feel bad for him. We also asked for the release of those friends he had in the Andaman Islands. I like that, because they obviously got captured. He ventured out on his own free will, and his local contacts need not be persecuted for his own actions. As a family, we ask you to understand respecting us during this time. Is there anything else?
His father criticized religion for the death of his son, stating, "If you have anything positive to say about religion, I wish not to see or hear it. John is gone because the Western ideology overpowered my Confucian influence. He blamed evangelicals' extreme Christianity for pushing his child to a not unexpected end, which is a viewpoint often repeated across social media platforms. John Allen Chau is not a martyr, just a dumb..."
Don't judge. A person who's killed because of their religious faith or beliefs. That's valid.
American who thought that tribals needed Jesus, when the tribals already lived in harmony with God and nature for years without outside interference.
See, that's exactly what I'm saying. Like, they've already lived with their own gods and nature, and they're... Yeah, I feel like they're their own... They've already been living in harmony. Well, please check out this video, and Sunny V2 in general just puts out exceptional content. And, yeah, that's all I have. See ya.